So with that, we're going to move right into our next guest and presenter. And I'm sure many of you know Darcy. She really doesn't need an introduction, but she was the District 3 counselor for the District 5 counselor, I'm sorry, for the first 3 years in the first council, and is a real leader, you know, in the region and the state on climate action issues. She's a founding member of Zero Waste Amherst. She is an attorney and a climate justice organizer and activist, is also a retired teacher, parent, and lawyer and lobbyist on for mental health issues as well. And I should have added that both Kathy and Darcy's children grew up in the Amherst public school system. I believe that's correct. So with that, I will turn over to Darcy to talk about, so as a founding member of Zero Waste Amherst, which is the community sponsor for the current, we call it the waste hauler bylaw, but it's really a proposed amendment to the current bylaw, and Darcy will go into great detail about this. But where the town is looking to move to a town contracted refuge collection vendor who would, as part of the basic service, it would include curbside compost pickup and a pay as you throw fee structure. So again, this is the council. You referred it to the town services and outreach committee, which is where the bylaw proposal amendment is now. It's supported by the Board of Health. And so we're looking forward to being able to really move to a full adoption and implementation by January 2024. That's our goal. So with that, I will turn over to Darcy.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I just want to mention that I'm in the new District 3 also. Strangely, feels funny to be in District 3, but here we are. And yes, my kids went through the Amherst Public Schools, and they're now 30 and 33.
And your grandmother.
Yes, and I'm a grandmother. So I wanted to start us off by a quick little survey. And those of you who are off screen, if you want to use your reactions, you can. But I just wanted to ask you all, how many of you receive hauling services from USA Hauling and Recycling? Just raise your hand. Okay. And how many of you, if you just raised your hand and you receive services from USA Hauling and Recycling, how many of you take advantage of their optional curbside compost pickup?
Hey, two.
I think that was just 2 of us. Yes, they do offer that for an additional price of about $50 a month. And how many of you use only the transfer station? Okay, that's not me. Well, how many? Keep your hands up. I just want to see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. Okay. So, and are there any of you who use both the USA Hauling and also pay for a transfer station?
I'll stay out of it.
Somebody, noise in the background here.
Somebody needs to mute.
Whether this is.
Joan.
Okay, good. And is that, I'm asking how many of
I'm
you
sorry,
get,
repeat that, Darcy. It was too much.
how many of you have hauling service from USA plus purchasing a transfer station sticker? And there's Lynn and
Okay,
And me.
Lynn, Steve, and Kate.
I don't have USA. I got rid of USA. I just do compost and transfer. I have a private compost people.
Oh,
so
Pretty
that's
funky.
that's
yeah,
interesting.
that's city compost, Barbara?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're getting
so-
better. They're getting more consistent.
Yes. So I'm going to just start off by screen sharing to show you a little bit of what we've been able to share on our ZWA. And let me know if I'm successful in sharing this.
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay, fantastic. So on the ZWA website, we have an FAQ page, frequently answered questions. And basically, we tried to come up with any question that anyone could ask. So we're not going to be able to get into all these things today, but I just wanted to let you know that it's here and that and the type of questions that are answered on the website. So what is the Huller proposal? Jennifer just pretty much explained it. I think the only thing that she didn't mention was that the current proposal suggests a phase-in of the program, starting with 1 to 4 family homes and moving later into including businesses, apartment complexes, and homeowners associations. That is, not at all decided at this point. It's a detail that would be worked out. The bylaw suggests that the program start in January of 2024. So a lot of work would need to be done in 2023 in order for that to happen. The sponsors, in addition to Jennifer, are Shalini Balmilne, Alicia Walker, and Andy Steinberg. So 4 of the counselors are sponsors. The trajectory has been that we brought the proposal last year to the council, and one of the counselors suggested that it was more appropriately in the Board of Health. So we took it to the Board of Health, and the Board of Health basically passed a motion saying that they support it and that they requested the council to indicate how it can be put forward. So then it came up in the council, and as Jennifer said, it's in the Town Services and Outreach Committee now. So you can see some of the questions that are on the website. Why would we want to change to a contract? And so on, what would be included in compostable materials? One of the definition of compostable material as Zero Waste Amherst sees it is that it would include food scraps and yard waste and other compostable materials like dirty paper, like paper plates, paper towels, compostable takeout containers, of which we have a huge number in Amherst, being a college town. So all of those things would be able to be picked up in a third cart that people would receive, and they would go to be processed locally according to what the bylaw suggests, the bylaw proposal. And the only real industrial scale compost processor in the area is Martin's Farm. So that is probably where it would go. You can see these other questions. And questions about, if you're in different situations. I'm a renter, how would this affect me? I'm in senior independent living, and so on. We attempted to answer these questions on the website. These are the organizations that have endorsed the proposal. It's gotten wide support. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
double checking. At the bottom of this page, we have listed the questions that have been asked by counselors, both in the town council meeting and at TSO. And the Zero Waste Amherst answers to those questions. So everything that I'm saying today is from the perspective of Zero Waste Amherst, not necessarily the sponsors or the town, just from the advocates that originally put it forward.
The community
So-
sponsors.
Community sponsors, right. So I'm going to skip over to one of the community that Zero Waste Amherst is looking at as the ultimate model for how it could be done is in Colorado. It's Louisville, Colorado. And just FYI, California, Washington, Oregon, Vermont are all have all banned organics in the waste stream and have programs like this going. And now we have several communities in Massachusetts that are working toward doing what we're working toward. Can you see a change in the screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is what is listed on the Louisville, Colorado website currently. So this comes directly from their website. And it shows basically how their system works. They have 3 different size carts. And they have a system where you pay according to the size of your cart. So if you only are using the 35-gallon cart, you're paying $16.27 a month, and that includes your compost pickup. So that's compared to what most people pay USA, which is $40 a month, regardless of what the size of your cart is. So most people would save money, even if your default was a 65-gallon container, you'd still only be paying $30 a month. So this tells you what you would get for each of those different size carts. And this, do you see this bill?
Yes.
This is a Louisville bill that comes with its water bill. And you can see that they get their bills monthly. But as you can see down here, do you see my pointer or not?
Yes.
Okay, so if you see on the 5th line of the bill, it says trash service. And if you go all the way over, you see $26, and that's for the medium-sized cart. So Louisville residents would get this bill from the town with their water bill. And you can see here, it says it's a flat monthly fee determined by the size of the trash cart. And the compost and recycling
Are
are
included.
included in this charge. This is something that we've really been looking at as the model of what at least Zero Waste Amherst would like to shoot for. So I am going to stop sharing for a moment because I think I have to stop sharing in order to bring up this other presentation. This is, can you see the,
Yes. we can see
okay.
it.
So this is the presentation that was made in August to the town council. Shalini Balmilne created it. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I just want to mention some of the slides. What's in our trash? So one of the things that we showed during that presentation was what our trash is made up of, percentage-wise. We are 28% organic materials, but that is only including the food scraps and the yard waste. It's not including the large amount of dirty paper also. So it's actually way more than 28% compostables. And we went into at some depth the different aspects of the waste crisis. The fact that organic waste now is mostly going to landfills, and at the landfills, it is emitting methane, potent greenhouse gas, and that most environment in many landfills and incinerator sites are also near environmental justice communities, impacting them disproportionately. We have a shortage of landfills. We're about to run out of capacity for places to put our waste. So that is an issue. The current system with USA Hauling and Recycling penalizes people who generate less waste. And the story about that is the comparison of Shalini and Darcy.
It's true.
Which Shalini offered, so she's okay with sharing it. She uses a 95-gallon cart, and it gets picked up every week. And I use a 35-gallon cart, which gets picked up every 2 weeks. And we pay USA exactly the same.
Oh, my.
So obviously, we don't have any incentive to reduce waste with our current system with USA.
Mhm. Yep.
So, and lastly, relying on people who are voluntarily composting doesn't have the impact that a universal system would have.
Mhm.
It would,
Right.
would cover the whole town. It would allow us to reduce our waste by about 40%. So just skipping through, wanted to show you this slide, which shows that Amherst is among of the towns that are Amherst size or larger in Western Mass.
Mhm.
Only Amherst and Northampton have not yet changed to a contract with the hauler or to
Really?
provide trash hauling in-house. So all these communities either collect their trash in-house or have a contract. I think one of the reasons why Northampton hasn't switched over is because they have a large number of their real waste reducing people are go with their local trash
People.
pedal
Pedal
people.
people, yeah.
And they are very popular in Northampton, and I think there's a real desire not to put them out of business or cause any conflict with them. So moving on, just want to show you this slide, which basically shows we had a study done last year by Smith College students, and they found that the average Amherst individual contract costs $519. And the average surveyed town contract in the surrounding towns was $234. And these are the annual payments per year. So at first we looked at it and we thought, this can't be right. We doubted it, I'll have to say. But then we did our own research, looked at a lot of different towns and found out, yes, this is in fact the case. So this is, again, the goals I mentioned before, the elements to change to a contract with the hauler, to include the universal curbside composting, to phase in the program, to use the pay-as-you-throw fee structure with the town billing us, and then using local composting, probably with Martin's Farm. So basically, that's the presentation, and I am open to questions.
Thank you, Darcy. That was excellent.
I would add a comment. I have, one of my concerns has always been, why would a hauler agree to this? But your presentation shows that they have. That
Oh,
they,
absolutely.
all around us, they have agreed to this new system. So I guess my last little reservation has gone. But totally convinced me that we must join this group. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I also did want to encourage people in the chat. I put a little question. If you know how much you pay per year, if you have hauler services and it would be great to get that information. And you can just put it in the chat if you're willing.
I think there is a question in the chat.
Yes, I put it in there. So,
Oh,
or if you don't want to put it in the chat, you could send it to my email address if you don't want to share it with the world.
I know I see a question from Pam Rooney in the. Should I read it? Or Pam, do you want to ask it?
Oh.
I'll read my text. Just interested to know who would manage this program. Would it be the same staff that managed the Today's Solid Waste program? Just curious what the workload might be that's either on new staff or existing staff.
Great question.
Okay, I just have a question for the group. I have someone with a phone number wanting to enter the meeting and want to get your advice about whether to admit them. I can quickly get rid of them if there's some problem. I think they're probably fine. Shall
I do too. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the meeting, 198, whatever.
Could you
Hello?
identify yourself?
Yes, Madeline Charney. Sorry to be late.
Oh, hi. how do you
Oh,
do?
hi.
Hey,
Great.
Madeline. We were
Welcome.
worried you were a Zoom bomber, but.
No, it's me.
Okay,
Just got the email. I hope I can just listen in. Thank you.
that's
Oh,
great.
yeah. So the answer to that, Pam, is obviously a lot of these details will need to be worked out by the staff, depending on how the town wants to set it up. The way Zero Waste Amherst has been looking at it is that it would require, for example, if the bills came out with quarterly with the water bills, we would need someone in accounting that, part of their job would be to add this piece to the billing. So there would be, a percentage of a person in accounting. That would be one thing. And then we're assuming that we'll need someone in DPW to be in charge of contract compliance. And so we have calculated that we'll need 15% of 2 staffers to do the work, and that might be $30,000 in the FY24 budget. That's what John Root suggested when he gave his public comment the other day. So yeah, there would be some ongoing expense, but residents would save a lot of money. And in the long term, we're assuming that the town would save money, because if we are putting 40% of our trash in the compost bin, that disposal of that compost costs half as much as disposal of trash.
Mhm.
So over the long run, we'll be saving money.
And saving the climate and saving our environment and saving our safe water and air. Oops.
Yes, yeah, no, it's a win-win-win kind of proposal. You know, the startup will, you know, for the first 6 months or so, will have to be work done by staff to do the startup as far as putting together the RFP, putting together the new Board of Health regs and so on. But once all that startup work is done, it should be, I think you could talk to any of these other towns that are doing it, should be smooth sailing after that startup period.
I'd like to ask Lynn what she thinks about the prospects of this happening.
My sense is at this point is TSO, first of all, the town has gotten a grant, which has allowed us to hear from an expert on trying to help think about this. I think it's going to come down to ability to show the town the environmental change and impact, and also the cost, and the cost both to the town handling this and or in terms of handling the overall contract and so forth. My hope would be that we see this come before the council before this term is up. And I don't see any reason why it can't, but it does mean that TSO is going to have to stay on it. I do want to make one observation though, and this is not, do not take this as negative on my part, but you really need to subtract out some numbers for those people who are on the college campuses, because each of our campuses have serious composting and recycling capabilities. I will just tell you from my experience, when I was at UMass, the custodians used to leave notes in waste paper baskets that says, this doesn't belong here. And so it was the entire staff was helping people learn how to compost and learn how to not impact the environment. So when you count the full population for Amherst, it includes students who live on campus. So somehow or another, that needs to just be acknowledged in the number. But other than that, you know, I think this is an exciting opportunity for Amherst, and we'll see what the options are that are put before the council.
Thank you.
I definitely, I think it should be able to get there before we end this term.
Thank you. Barbara.
Yeah, I just wanted to check. Darcy, did you say that, I mean, you said it takes this much money to dispose of the trash and it takes this much money to dispose of the compost, but what happens? I mean, doesn't the compost come back in soil?
Yes, if we used Martin's Farm, we would be paying X amount to dispose of it, or dispose meaning leave it there. It's called tipping, to tip it. We would not be, if we were using Martin's Farm, we wouldn't be getting the compost back, but it would be made into soil amendment that could be purchased by local farmers and gardeners and so on. I know that some of the groups out in Eastern Mass that are compost services, they do, you know, they're smaller operations and they do provide, if you're participating, you get a certain amount of compost back. I think,
Minuscule amount.
pardon?
You get a minuscule amount.
Right. But Martin's is, you know, a really huge industrial scale operation. And I think basically you can use the compost if you go purchase it.
Yeah. Well, but also that it's not something that has to be disposed of. It's not like adding to the, it's not adding to the burden of the planet.
Right, right. No, I really invite people to go visit Martin's because it's really a fun field trip and it gives you an idea of, you know, how the whole thing would work.
Well, and well, I'm trying to lower my hand at the same time as remember what I was going to say. But so, so it's not disposing of it. One of the things when I say to people that I do composting, they say, oh, I already put it in my backyard. And it's like, you don't put your lobster shells and your chicken bones and stuff like that in the backyard. And so it's just amazing how much they take and can reuse it. I mean, can recycle it in a constructive way, as opposed to it making my garbage bigger. I was amazed at how much smaller my trash was.
Yeah,
when
no,
we
it
put
is.
that in. I don't know why. I mean, it just was amazingly smaller.
I know. I have a 64-gallon compost bin from USA because I do their, voluntary composting. And I fill it up to the top every 2 weeks. Because with a very tiny amount of food scraps, but then I'll put in sticks and leaves and, dirty paper and stuff like that. And it fills it all the way up to the top.
Yeah, so this food scraps, we're supposed to have 5 gallons taken every other week or so. And that's way more than the two of us can generate.
Yeah.
Not way more, but more.
Yeah. But we have to also realize that, we have,
We have
families of 4 and 6 and so on, and they'll need more capacity.
I think Natalie, you had your hand up? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, quick. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you. Real quick, can Martins take compostable utensils and plates?
Yes.
Yeah.
There
That's
are
huge.
yeah, that is the reason that they can take them is because are you talking about the kind that looks like plastic?
Yes, that's significant because then people could purchase those kind of things and stop using plastic.
Yes. Yes. So I actually asked that question on my first visit to Martin's because I couldn't figure out how they could, because they have to sift out things that are not supposed to be there in the compost. And I asked how they could tell between a plastic glass cup and a compostable plastic looking cup. And that was an easy answer. The compost piles get so hot, they have to go up to something like 170 degrees that they melt. They melt inside the pile if they are compostable, and the non-compostable just have to get raked out. But no, they invite any compostable containers, whether they're the paper kind or the plasticky type kind.
Thank you so much. That's really significant, and hope we
Yeah.
can weave that into our promotion for this.
I know, and it broke my heart for many years to be like insisting on having compostable containers for takeout, but then throwing them in the trash.
Yes.
It's like, that doesn't make sense.
No.
And
thank you. I also did, want to add what Lynn, thank you for bringing up that we did recently the town received a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. And so actually a resident from Amherst, Susan Waite, who is with the department, and she'll be working, we're fortunate to have her be the representative from DEP that will be working with the town, who, as Paul said in one of his reports, is committing staff and resources from various departments to work on the project. And the team from the town will include the Solid Waste Division Supervisor, Procurement Officer, Superintendent of Public Works, the town manager, and the finance director. So together with the sponsors, the community sponsors, and the Town Services and Outreach Committee, we are fully underway do the groundwork to, hopefully see this to implementation. And maybe Darcy, you want to touch on there'll be a lot of community outreach and community education. And Darcy already has a plan for the spring where you've been soliciting volunteers.
Yes, there's actually, I might be able to screen share that. Let's see if I can. Can you see that?
Yes.
So we have this
Sustainable.
project. Can you see sustainable neighborhood teams?
Yes.
If you go to
Right.
the website, you can actually sign up to be on a sustainable neighborhood team. And the reason that we have been trying to set this up is originally just to help with the outreach for the hauler proposal. We're hoping that when it launches, we can have teams of people in the neighborhood that can help explain it to people as, on the ground. So we're very excited about that. And there's a form that you can fill out if you want to be on a neighborhood team. Where's the link to that? Oh, here it is, right here.
Yep.
So you just click on this form and you can sign up to be on a sustainable neighborhood volunteer. And we hope that it will eventually also morph into teams that can help with other things like getting out word about the heat pump program that we're going to be having in town in the next year, or other initiatives explaining about community choice aggregation electricity when that launches. So, we'd love to have people in each neighborhood that can be kind of the go-to resource for people about climate and zero waste related efforts.
Great. Thank you. Oh, I see Maria's hand raised.
Yeah, first of all, I want Natalie has been trying to speak. So I
Oh.
want her to get a crack at it first, and then I just
Oh, I
have
thought
some-
Natalie was speaking. Was that?
No, I was on mute.
Oh,
I
no,
tried.
your mouth was moving, and I think it
Right.
was who it was.
I'll be very
on the phone
quick.
call. Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, the visiting the farm is what the Greenfield Farm is wonderful, but the YouTube is excellent, and you can have popcorn and watch this go all the way through the various stages. It's really worth 45 minutes at home with popcorn. The second thing is, I think it's wonderful for kids. This is the biggest problem he has. These stickers that go on fruit. Have your kids or your neighbors or yourself or your husband or your wife or your dog remove them right
Mhm.
there. You're going to save money with the Greenfield recycler. That's it for today.
Thank you. That's so funny.
Weird.
I think
Wow.
that Madeline was speaking on the phone, and I thought that was
Oh,
you speaking.
Well,
So,
Madeline, I
thank-
love. She is great. She's
So thank you,
another
Maria, for
inspiration.
Okay. Thank you.
now, Maria.
Okay, thanks. Oops, let me put my hand down. So first, I just want to really thank Darcy for the enormous work that she has done to keep this ball rolling. And
Bet.
none of you are my specific counselors, but I want to light a fire under each of you, and let's get this done. Let's get this done fast. Let's start this as soon as possible. So please, please, please do whatever you can to get this moving through whatever bureaucratic stuff has to happen, and let's do it. I cannot wait to knock doors to be a sustainable neighborhood volunteer.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if I can, I'll include a link to all of this and to the YouTube, because I watched the Martin's Barn YouTube in the next newsletter. So
Great, fantastic.
I want to make a comment. I'm not sure if this is correct, but once this is established, Darcy has said that there will be a reduction in fees for all of the homeowners who have been contracting for trash removal. And I'm wondering if that reduction in fees would be about the amount that after we have the override vote for the elementary school,
Interesting.
would increase the taxes. Because I know many people are saying our taxes keep going up and up and up and they don't go down. But this could be something that's going down. And I think that would be very important to let people know that this would be a decrease in what you have to pay in your monthly, yearly life in Amherst.
Yeah, and I would just add that because I was at a meeting yesterday with Mindy Dom, and she was asking about low income people and how this would impact them. And I just have to say, there are 1,500 people in Amherst who live alone in a house. And those people, if they're getting USA hauling, are paying a hugely disproportionate amount for their trash. If they're just one person, they're not producing that much trash. And this program would help them enormously because the current system is actually unfair.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there as, it will make trash hauling more equitable. And, if people need to pay less, they'll have that incentive to reduce their trash. And there's also, and I did mention this to Mindy yesterday, there are several towns that are models also to give breaks, discounts to seniors and to low income people. For example, if you had a low income family of 6 that needed some kind of a discount, there are programs out there that we could
Great.
offer.
Thank you.
Thank you
Adrian.
very much.
So I have to follow up on what Maria said. Hi, Darcy. You are a jewel among us.
Yeah.
The very first voice I think I ever heard, and this goes back decades, was yours. Power to you, good person. And I'm going to address the town councilors here. This is an opportunity. Yes, you will do your cost benefit analyses, but frankly, I didn't come to Amherst and stay here for 50 plus years to think that everything was reduced to dollars and cents, to how high or low my taxes must go, or whether I was going to support reparations. Yes, I will, and several others because of being able to squeeze my personal family budget to support the values that you all here represent. We have to move forward on zero waste Amherst. And Darcy, I would like to just share with you one of the comments of many you made that impacts me. I am among one family of several neighbors who we do our composting. It's a small group of us, perhaps, or several groups throughout town. We're out here. We've been composting for decades. We don't do what you've done through your extra barrel, but you have to appeal to all of us, not only through our pocketbooks, by why this is not only sane for the climate and the generation of new children that we want to build that new school for, but those of us who've been composting for decades in these little small groups, we need to do it, get that message out as to why we have to adopt a town-wide approach to it. Thank you so much. I love your data. You've been super good. I can't express the data that certainly convinced me years ago, but keep at it, Darcy. Town councilors, please help move this forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We hear you. But yeah, when it was first presented to me, I have to say, I was excited about that we could go to the community and say, we are doing something to, among all the other, the environmental and all the greater reasons to do it. But if we could reduce a monthly fee, that rarely is an offer, an opportunity that comes our way. And I think it's brilliant, Dorothy, to tie it to the school and help the planet